Before I start, I want to let you all know what this manga is. This series is a stage that has been set by the author to allow miracles to be performed upon. These are the crazy dreams of a rock fan. There's a lot of history in this story, but it's still fiction at the end of the day, so treat it as such. This manga is also pretty dark, so consider yourself warned. Shiori experience is about the ghost of Jimi Hendrix haunting a Japanese high school English teacher named Shiori Honda. Was that not enough for you? Okay, let's rock. Honda Sensei is a plain as can be 26-year-old teacher in the city of Mitsubishi. She is constantly overshadowed by Subaru Sensei, the leader of the school's brass band, and Tino Sensei, the leader of the boys soccer club, whom she has a crush on. These are both great teams that are trying to win at the national level this year. As a teenager, she loved playing the guitar with her band. It was her brother Joji and his love of Jimi Hendrix that inspired Shiori and her guitar playing. This ironically ended up making Shiori quite musically compatible with Jimi, despite her not caring about him at all. But, after Joji ran out on the family, playing music was forbidden by her father. Kinda like Coco, you know, the Disney one. One random day she started seeing the ghost of Jimi Hendrix, but through the power of jacking in, no, it's not what you think it is, Shiori is able to rediscover her lost love for guitar playing. There's only one problem. In order to not die at 27, Shiori vows to become a legend and starts by creating the light music club at her school. She goes through many hardships along the way. Nothing is ever easy for her, but slowly and surely, she's able to move forwards both musically and in life. While finding new bandmates along the way, Shiori is able to start questioning why she gave away her guitar, why she stopped doing what she loved, and why she started doing what other people told her to do instead of listening to herself. This is a story about new starts and perseverance, a story about Shiori learning to listen to her own blues, the music of her soul. Jimi Hendrix is Jimi fucking Hendrix. What exactly do I have to explain here? He acts as the wise mentor character for Shiori as she goes about her journey, all the while wishing for nothing more than to keep playing the guitar, trying to jack in as much as possible to continue his playing from beyond the grave. I suppose I should talk about Joji since he's the one who put all of this into motion. In his youth, Joji was an up-and-coming guitarist in a band. They were doing shows, they had fans, and in the spur of the moment, they even signed a record deal. Though, being the stupid idiot he was, Joji didn't read the contract, and later found out that he'd been scammed into taking over a large loan. Needless to say, his band disbanded. And to make matters worse, Joji decided to run away from his family and leave it all behind in the middle of the night. Even now in the present day, his family still continues to pay off the debt and haven't forgotten about it. Nothing is ever taken lightly in this series. Events that happen will almost always have an impact on future events in some way. Which you know your boy like. On one fateful eve, Joji found a book that called out to him. The book that would reveal the secret to one of the oldest superstitions in the world of guitar players, selling his soul to a crossroads demon. But nothing happened. You see, in this universe, there are no crossroads demons. Instead, there are people like Jimi, members of the 27 Club, who in turn possess the person making the deal, granting them the skill they always wanted. This is what's happening every time Jimi jacks into Shiori. If you didn't know, the 27 Club are a group of famous musicians who all died at the age of 27. Their deaths caused the superstition that all genius musicians die at the age of 27 to form. It was always Joji's dream to die at 27 and join the club, but he was well past that age at this point. Unknowingly to Joji, however, he did manage to successfully summon Jimi Hendrix that night. There's a mystery in this manga surrounding Jimi's death, and the mysterious music executive that was most likely behind it. This executive is a very dangerous man, and will stop at nothing to create the ultimate band, consisting only of crossroaders who have been possessed by members of the 27 Club. Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin, Brian Jones, Kurt Cobain, and Jimi Hendrix. To this end, he's out searching for anyone claiming to be possessed by a famous musician. After making the deal, Joji kept on living as normal, but deluded himself into thinking he was possessed by Jimi. It wasn't until he met the Crossroader, Ford Mustang, and his stand, Kurt Cobain, that he finally comes to terms with the fact that he's a trash guitar player. Joji is one sad sack of shit. A washed up has-been that can't even come to grips with reality most of the time. His guitar playing isn't as good as it used to be. He left his entire family behind with a debt that he was responsible for. He's constantly getting drunk and bumming money off of people. There really isn't much going for this guy. All he has left is his copy of Jimmy's guitar in terrible condition. But despite all of this, the man never learns his lesson. Even while he's getting booed and having shit thrown at him, he just keeps going, he just keeps trying. He's a bum through and through, no doubts about it. But as Kurt says, if he can't be cool in his own way, he'd rather die. When going back to Mitsubishi, Joji is not okay. This was the town that he left behind for good, and on top of that, he knows that someone in town is being possessed by Jimmy thanks to Ford. Someone that he would give anything to be, even his soul. This manga is unfinished at the time of making this video, so I don't know what fate is in store for Joji. What I do know is that Kurt makes it clear, despite Joji's guitar dying out a long time ago, the guitar, or rather a person's passion, can be resurrected any number of times. I'm personally most excited to learn about how Joji's playing will evolve from the garbage it is now, and more importantly, how he'll react when he finds out exactly who Jimmy is possessing. Kurt's history is gone through in the manga, and it's sadly accurate from what I can tell. Angry at the world around him, Kurt let out his emotions through his music. Back when he was still alive, Nirvana made music that was not very popular. It was too gloomy, you couldn't dance to it, etc. But none of that mattered to the band. They just wanted to make the music that they wanted to make. The ignorant masses be damned. After a while, they even started getting some fans. Things were looking good. Until the day they had the bright idea to make the album Nevermore. A catchy album made for the mainstream to eat up, and that's exactly what happened. But no one could have expected just how much the mainstream would love it. Smells Like Teen Spirit was such a hit that fans would demand to be played every single show. Every single show. Even when opening bands had just played it right beforehand.
Yo, Kurt, congrats on selling out today. You got a full crowd of your adoring poser rock fans. How does it feel to have thrown away your indie spirit to become a fucking mainstream sellout?
It's made clear in the manga that guitar playing is no longer in fashion. Kids nowadays want music they can listen to without thinking while on their phones. The same 4 chords, the same 4/4 beat, the same tired lyrics. We live in a world where none of this guitar playing, Jimmy or Kurt, are still relevant. The guitar-based music I love that inspired me isn't relevant either. Not in the mainstream at least. It's relevant to the fans who care obviously, but basically no one else. Does that make what we play or like listening to any less meaningful? If anything, I think it makes it more meaningful. If you try to make music for everyone, you'll make music for no one. If you take the soul out of the song, what are you even left with? The music that Kurt should have loved became like a fucking part-time job. What was the point of selling all those records if it wasn't the music he actually wanted people to hear? Smells Like Teen Spirit lives on as Nirvana's most famous song by far. We all know how this story ends. Fortunately for us though, Kurt's story in this manga doesn't end there. It's a slow burn, it's a seinen, not a shonen, but every once in a while, all of that build-up culminates into something really special. In that brief moment, this manga is untouchable. You really would just need to read it for yourself to see what I mean. I don't know if this manga should be adapted into an anime, to be honest. I don't think they could ever do the music justice. But the beauty of silent images is that your brain can fill in the blanks for you. This manga does a really good job of showing off the different types of musicians there are. Those who live their lives listening to music quietly in the background, those who practice until they bleed, those who just want to make music with their friends. It doesn't really matter because despite all their differences, they all just love music. It's hard for me to explain something as simple as why people love music, but for whatever reason, it's hardwired into us. If you need to make music, you make music. Or as Jimmy puts it, musicians use colorful and creative expressions all the time because this isn't a science, it's just a feeling we're chasing. To make it as simple as possible, isn't being able to turn your emotions into sound the entire point of playing an instrument? Being able to express what you're feeling to an audience, and using your technical skill to translate what you hear in your head into sound? As a side note, a really cool part about playing someone else's song is that if you're lucky, you might just gain insight into how they were feeling when they made it. Another idea that gets brought up a lot is that it's okay to be selfish, and that it's not so bad to be an egoist. Which, granted, is probably a lot more enlightening to a Japanese audience than a Western one, but still. It's obviously not okay to be a selfish prick. But as Stan Lee once said, if you've got an idea that you genuinely think is good, don't let some idiot talk you out of it. I started playing the guitar about a year ago after watching this episode of South Park.
You have played Guitar Hero enough to reach 1 million points! Congratulations! You are bags!
I haven't seen my fingers without bruises or torn skin since. It's hard to make music. Really hard. We all take it for granted nowadays because of the abundance of it available to us. No one is good at it the first time they try. We all want to be the best sounding player, but we can't all be, especially not first. Reality is cruel. Sometimes you're gonna have to lose in one area to gain something in another. Even with the help of Jimi Hendrix, the Light Music Club takes L after L after L after L after L after L. It is a staggering number of L's. Their whole school hates them, their club room gets destroyed. In their beginner zeal, they get too excited, immediately get knocked down to reality when no one cares about their playing. Get knocked down even further when they hear the next band go on and crush them. And the cherry on top? That band ain't shit in the grand scheme of things either. If you've ever wondered what depression looks like, this is it. Shiori lets out all these feelings with her guitar. And all of this happened in one volume. They weren't even close to their goal at this point. You want to become a legend? Don't fuck around with a legend. That's probably what's going to happen if you decide to try an instrument for the first time. It's going to seem like everyone else is magic except for you. But it's okay because that's all part of the process. That applies to anything, not just music. You're going to make a bunch of garbage until one day it just kind of works. Things will just click into place, but it requires a tremendous amount of input to get to that point. That's what I'm doing with this video. That's what the characters in this manga do. They aren't doing anything special, they're just trying their hardest. And you probably could too. But I don't have Jimi Hendrix helping me. That's true, that's true. Instead, you have something even better. It's called the internet. It's literally never been easier to learn something. But you have to want to do it, and you have to try your hardest. No amount of anything will ever make up for the effort you need to put in, to reach that coveted 10,000 hour mark and become the master you always wanted to be in a skill. Despite reality being cruel, people will still struggle until the bitter end. We can't all be number one, but does that mean we should just give up? Of course not. No one is going to believe in you at first, but that will change really quickly once you start building momentum for yourself. The president of the brass band says it best. I don't want to see miracles. I want to see floundering, struggling, blood spitting, collapsing, writhing in pain, facing your own immaturity, falling into despair, and standing up once more. Smiling sometimes, and back to struggling. Learning and creating is one hell of a process. You're gonna hear what you've made as shit over and over and over again. The only way to move forward is to accept that, and learn to enjoy this incredibly frustrating process. There's no guarantees, but maybe if you keep pushing through all of the shit you make, just maybe, one day you'll make some great shit.